Hi everybody, I'm going live now on YouTube, link in bio or below. Come on, if you're a music producer, come and ask any questions. I'm here all January, but come and say hello tonight, and yeah, see you there. Hi everybody, I'm going live now on YouTube, link in bio or below. Come on, if you're a music producer, come and ask any questions. I'm here all January, but come and say hello tonight, and yeah, see you there. Hi everybody, I'm going live now on YouTube, link in bio or below. Come on, if you're a music producer, come and ask any questions. I'm here all January, but come and say hello tonight, and yeah, see you there. Hi everybody, I'm going live now on YouTube, link in bio or below. Come on, if you're a music producer, come and ask any questions. I'm here all January, but back on my life. Hey everybody, how are we today? Who have we got in the chat today? Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome. If it's your first time here, I am Jason Hurd. 30 years producing house music on all the big labels. And nowadays I just do one-to-one mentorships. And I'm coming onto YouTube and I wanted to build up an audience. So I thought I'd just do some live Q&A. So you can ask me anything you want to do with music production, you know, anything to do with the industry. And I do use Ableton, but I use Logic, Cubase, Studio One, Bitwig as well. So it's not just one. It's not just kind of one door specific. Good evening, Aaron. Nice to see you. So, any questions for me for tonight before I start? Okay, let's go to it. So, I just thought I would talk about something, and it's really important. It's a phenomenon. I've heard somebody else talk about it before. So, I've been working on this EP, and if you've been on the streams, it's one with Rona Ray, and this is a dub, and I finished it a couple of months ago. Been going back and forth to it. I'm happy with it. I've not been DJing out, so I've not played out. Evening, Adrian. And what's happened is I've finished the tracks. I thought they're great. I've sent them to the mastering engineer. He sent them back. They sound amazing. But I didn't like the kick on the dub. And I was like, oh, why do I not like this? And I realised that it didn't have any low frequencies in it. And I was just like, why have I missed that? How have I missed that? Like, why have I had to go and pay to get it mastered for them then to realise I've got the wrong kick? And it reminds me of, and I've seen somebody else talk about this, and I have it. It's a thing where I produce a record, I'm really happy with it. Evening, Kipper. I really like it. I'm confident. I'm referencing it. And then I play it to somebody, like in person, or I send it to a mastering engineer and they send it back. Or I'm in a different scenario. For some reason, I look at it in a totally different way when I'm playing it to somebody else. Like, I can think a tune's great, and I think, okay, that's it, and then I can play it to somebody else while they're sat with me, and as they're listening in real time, I go, oh no, I need to change that. Oh no, I need to change that. Oh no, I need to change that. And it's definitely a thing. I don't tell me in the chat if you know about it, but it's definitely a phenomenon or whatever it might be. It's something like that. So yes, and it's weird. I'm talking about it because it's an important thing. I think if you've got a certain kind of music, I think it's good to have a community of other producers. Some that are not as good as you, some that are better than you. Some people like me. The good thing about a lot of my clients is they have me to talk to and me to be critical about it. Even though you might know yourself, you miss things because you're just lost in your own mix and working on your own track. So I think having a community of people, like I've had it for years, like a WhatsApp group, and then I put it on the group and say, listen guys, what do you think about this? And I always look at my track different when I'm playing it to somebody else in person. It's a very weird thing. Anyway, I changed the kick, and it sounds miles better. It's got a bit more bottom end. But I don't know why I didn't recognise it. Weird. I mean, as soon as he sent it back, I knew. And then I A-B'd it. I got it in metric A-B, and I A-B'd it. I just thought it just needs a bit more weight in the kick. And I changed the kick and A-B'd that to the old version and realised it just needed, the kick to go from it was in B, but it needs to go down to like G, so just really had that thump at the bottom. So, not taking your own mind or your own word for how your record's finished or good enough. It's good to have a community of people around you that make the same music and understand what you're achieving and who can critique it in certain ways. And sometimes it's people that are, my clients, who are, early in their career. I play them a record and they go, oh, do you know what? Maybe you could do this. And I go, oh, yeah. You just never know. Try and get a few people around you when it comes to your music to bounce off, to listen to, say, would you play this? And don't, don't get people around you who will critique you and be really blunt and be dead honest, but be able to give you a constructive criticism to why they wouldn't play it. If it's because they don't like the melody, that you might love that melody, then just release it. If it's I feel like the kick just doesn't punch like in the other tracks like mine did, and then okay, I'm going to look at that. So finishing it's very easy to get caught up and listen in tracks and finish a track, and then you're like, it's finished. But then there's some part of your brain that doesn't see things, I think, because you've tuned in to certain parts of it and you miss it. I always had James from Proc Fitch was good for me. He used to proper slate them, and I appreciated it. He didn't think I did sometimes, because sometimes I never listened to him, but yeah. So, good evening. Any questions, anybody? No? Okay, well, I'll give you a run through of a track. I've done 3 sessions today, so I'm a bit tired. I've been up since about 4:30, but let's go through it. Give you a quick listen to this track. This is the dub where I've just changed the kick. In fact, I'll let you listen to the kick. See, it was just a bit lower in frequency, but it seems to work a little bit better. I used an F9 kick. It does make a big difference for the feeling of it. If you're listening to headphones, you're probably not going to be able to hear it because I'm on these, but I know that in my big speakers, I want to feel what I feel in the club. I can hear it. Everything else sounds good. I'm not going to talk about kick 3 tonight, Kipper, because I've not gone into it properly yet. Kick 2 I do. I will learn it. I'll learn it inside out. I might take a bit of time tomorrow to look at it, but I've just been back to back with clients. But funnily enough, you said that, and one of my clients came in with the kick in kick 3, and it sounded really good. But I don't know enough about it, so I don't want to go into it and start, learning it while I'm on with you guys. So I'll just run through this track for you. And if you want to ask me any questions, I'll go through it. Not too long a session tonight. So this is the dub to the track. I think I've run it through past you before. But I needed a dub for a release to do with Rona Ray. And basically, I had this. It wasn't in the same key. I'd been working on it. I really liked it. And I just thought, I've got to get it out. So I did it. But I really like it.
Okay, yeah, you get the idea. It's just a groover. It's not meant to be an anthem. It's just, I like playing tracks like this that I can stick acapellas over, and a lot of the time when you're playing in clubs, it's the grooves that you really like, and I think the drums are wicked. A big vocal on top would help, but it's a dub, and that's what it does, and quite a few people play this kind of stuff. But before I go into the mix, thank you guys. I'm going to answer Adrian's question. So Adrian's question was, hi Jason, what monitors do you recommend that translate properly, and what do you do in the studio to the club? I'm not quite sure what you mean by what do you do in the studio to the club, Adrian. Okay, right. So, for me, a good pair of monitors, the monitors that get as much frequency range as possible that aren't coloured, and there's quite a few. I prefer a three-way, a good quality three-way, to a good quality two-way, but sometimes I might prefer a high quality two-way to a low quality three-way. So the speakers, you can learn your speakers. So I know a lot of people use Genelec. I've got Adams, which are these here. I've also got that, which is £35 Bluetooth speaker. And I've got the HS5s. Adams, they're some of the best speakers out there. But the speakers, your speakers are only as good as your room. It's a combination of your speakers in your room that's important. So, getting your acoustics right is really important. And hello, Matt. Matt finished my course. He's just applied the acoustics, as we spoke about, in his new room, actually. So you've got to get rid of all of those reflections and the bass. So I'm not an acoustician, but I've had lots of problems and I've got a big understanding of it. So, in a nutshell, try and make sure your speakers are the same distance from each wall and from the front wall behind the speakers, the same each. Okay, and where the first reflection, so you have your direct sound that comes from the speakers to your ears. Okay, and then you have the sound that goes from the speaker to each ear, and that's the difference between headphones. That's your direct sound. Okay, then you've got your first reflections. What your first reflections do is go from the speaker to the nearest surface and then straight to your ear. So for example, if I put a mirror on any surface, like the wall there, and if I can look in the mirror and I can see the tweeter, that's the position of the first reflections, and that's where you want to have some acoustic paneling treatment, possibly a diffuser or an absorber. Okay, so, and then same on the roof. Also your desks are really important for that. Okay, so there your first reflections are up there, that's a diffuser, and then over there, that's a diffuser and absorbers. So the white bit's a diffuser, and obviously the soft bits absorb the sound. So a diffuser just breaks it all up. You can see it there. It just goes into it and it breaks it up. And the first reflections, that's what you want to do, because they're the second strongest signal, and then to the back of the room, and then back to your ears. Okay, so I'm generally talking, in them positions for having, like, in my experience, a diffuser or an absorber. An absorber, you can buy a bag from GIC or one of the other companies in America where they sell acoustics. It's full of Rockwell. I also put it behind the speakers. Put it behind the speakers. Yeah, and like that up there, it's just just polystyrene. I've seen people make something like that just out of, 1by1s, different heights, different slices like that, slices them all, gluing them all together. You can have a bookcase, you can have a record case, anything that where it's going to hit it and go, stop it going straight back to you, diffusing it. And you can get them cheap and you can make them. But then you've got your second reflections, and that's where everything's just bouncing off everything else. I'm trying to explain it without giving you a visual, which I'm doing for my course. And we want to absorb them before they come to your ear, because what happens is in your room, you hear the room. And I suppose if any of you know, and you've got a room where you've got an echo in or something like that, that's the stuff that gets in the way of listening to the direct sound. Okay. When it comes to your room, I'm going to go about bass. Now, bass, I always get the professionals in. I used a program called Roo, which is you just get a microphone and you measure your room through your speakers. You do this thing, and it measures your room and it tells you what's wrong with your room. Now, I sent that to the acoustic company. We did the first set of acoustic panels. I went for expensive ones, but in the past, in my garage, I had eggshells and I had the foam things and I had something else, but I had a really good shape to my studio. So I had a rectangle. It was a converted garage and carpet on the floor, carpet on the walls, and it really worked. It sounded great in there. But so anyway, first reflection, second reflection, you want to soak them all up. But the big thing is bass. And it's the number one problem for a lot of people. It's quite easy to get that done, to soak things up with adding things into your room, with foam, with making something like that, with a settee or a bed in there, and just something on the room. Think of the reflections and the points and just try and break it all up and absorb it. That's why soft rooms are generally better if you've got a small room like me. Now, the big problem you've got is bass. So what happens is your bass leaves the speakers, goes to the back wall, right? But bounces straight back and it can cancel itself out. So a bass, I think a 50 hertz bass wave is about 18 feet, or is it 18 meters? 18 feet. And so really what you want the bass is to go is all the way to the back of the room, get soaked up and then come back, but it bounces back. So what we need to do is get stuff to design to soak up those bass waves so they don't come back to us and then nullify. So before I treated this room, I could walk around this room, even with these speakers, and there'd be places specifically where I'm sat where there's no bass. So I was mixing tracks and then I'd play them out and there was too much bass, and that's because of the room, not because of the speakers. So that is something that you take for professionals. Some people will say, there's these really big foam things like for bass traps, but they're not bass traps. And I would always get a fantastic acoustician to look at it. I've just went to Salado's and what's the guy called who did his? He does everybody's. And he's just, it was the most awkward room that they were in. Small, there was no length. It was like shorter than this. It was less than a square, and he just put the right stuff in there to make it work. So if you are at the point where you're mixing and finishing tracks, your room is the most important tool. I would say invest in your room before a really expensive pair of speakers. So, I like the Focals. I think they're really good. A lot of people, tech house people, use Genel X. I've had Focals. I loved them. Before these speakers, I had the Barefoots or Wands, and they were amazing in my old studio. They just didn't really work in the studio for some reason, so that's when I tried Studio Care in Liverpool. Maybe try these speakers, and they were amazing. They tune to your room as well, using that file that I told you send to your acousticians, which measures your room. They're really clever speakers. And then now, because I've learnt my room, because your room's a lot of the time never right, you then learn your room and you learn. So I know that when I finish my bass, but I think it's right, I know I have to put the bass up another dB or two. Yeah. And then generally it translates perfect every time. Like I said, I've got the small speaker there, I've got the HS5s, but your room is as important as your speakers. You'll get a better mix out of shit speakers and a great room than a great speakers in a shit room, because you're just getting all the reflections hitting you. And you want to make informed decisions. So the question you might want to ask then is, okay, well, why don't I just use headphones if I've just got a direct sound? The reason for that is, well, first of all, in my stereo, because I've got a great treated room and I've got great speakers, I've got a great depth of field, yeah, and I've got a great stereo spread, right? Which means that I'm mixing in 3D. So if I've got a vocal there and I've got the backing vocals around the same place, I can hear them go back. I can hear them, come back in the mix. And if I want to, you know, if they're like that, and I think, oh, the top end of the high harmonies are just a bit higher than the vocal, I can filter it off and hear it go like that. You know, or I might have a vocal, I want to go, okay, I want to put that vocal there, I want to put that there. You know, I've got the piano there. I don't want the piano in front of the vocal, so what I'll try and do is I'll sit the piano back with a bit, you know, more reverb, or bring the vocal forward a bit more, and then maybe I'll stereo spread the piano over here. But I can literally touch it because of the room. And that's how important it is to me to mix in. Now, the difference between, let's say, a $3,000 pair of speakers, right, and a $10,000 pair of speakers, a $12,000 pair of speakers, is definition. The more you pay, the more definition that you get. And when I'm mixing, I mix loads of different reverbs when I'm doing all the disco and everything else. So I really want to hear the detail. They're like hi-fi speakers. And yeah, that's it. But I've also got these. So I use the Audi's LCDX. I can get great mixes out of them, right? So why don't I just use these? There's numerous reasons. Right? The first one is the depth of field and stereo field. I don't get it the same because I'm listening on headphones, right? Don't forget, it's something to do with the left speaker going to the left ear, left speaker going to the right ear, and the right speaker going to the right ear, and right speaker going to the left ear. And I might have got my right and left gone wrong because I'm looking at myself as I'm speaking to you. So there's that. I don't get the same direct, but what I don't get is this. We're making music for clubs. So our customers are in the clubs, right? So if I'm not feeling the bottom of the kick, the 50 hertz, what I was telling you about before, so I listened to that mix in the headphones that he did for me, the master, amazing. But when I listen on these speakers, I just thought, and he A-B'd it in Metric A-B to a couple of tracks that I really like. I just wasn't getting that. I just wasn't getting it. The thump, ooh, that's great in a club. Now some tracks don't have that, and it's, some people say it's not too important. A lot of the deep house has higher kicks actually, like your PIV stuff, but I like to feel it. So there's that. You just feeling it is so important to me, which is why you've got to have the room. You've got to feel what it's like in a club. People aren't listening in headphones to our music most of the time. They're feeling it in a club. And the other thing is, these are quite tiring. Listening to headphones all day are tiring. So just to let you know, I've got these. So these are open back, so they are a bit easier. I wake up at 5 every day, and I was mixing while everyone was in bed, but it wasn't tiring. And my ears are red quite a lot because I do listen to it loud, and I've abused them. So yeah, these are good headphones. Now, Aaron's said he's got the Stephen Slate VSX. Now I did have them, and I get them. They're great referencing, listen to it on different rooms. I like them, but again, you just don't get that feeling. You don't get it. And I prefer these to the Stephen Slate, because they're just a more true sound. You know, there's no room, and I'd rather get it. But even with Stephen Slate, you're not getting that thump in your stomach and your punch. But a lot of people, you know, I've seen people get them, some of my clients, and they've made things better. I had them, but because I've got a great room that I've learned, remember, no room's perfect, because I've got a great pair of headphones, because I've got these other sets of reference speakers, and I've got a car, and I've got my earbuds that I go for a walk in every morning, that's all people are going to listen to on the clubs, and I play in clubs, or I send my records to people who are going to play them in clubs. So you've got to think of all the different things together about what your budget is. And if your budget, you haven't got budget to make your room sound good any better, then get a good pair of headphones, I would recommend. Some people like the Stephen Slate, they're a lot cheaper, but for me, personally, I wouldn't go, after using these, I wouldn't go anywhere. And I would always go for open headphones. The sound comes out, so the pressure comes out, so it's not as bad on your ears. Don't do what I did, where I bought them, I was doing a gig in Australia, and I started working on my laptop on the plane, and the guy said, "Can you turn it down?" I went, "Oh, sorry." Listened to it, turned it off. I thought, that's weird, it's not on. So I got it on, turned it on. The guy went, "Can you turn it down, please?" I went, "What do you mean?" I went, there's no sound coming out. He went, "It's coming out your headphones." And then I realised that the sound came out, and I didn't know. That was many, many years ago. That was the first pair of these that I got. So, yeah, they don't work in close-up public places, but they are the best. Good evening, Pengy. Nice to see your support. Evening, Matt. Thank you for the kind words. How is your studio, Matt? Got a very nice pair of PMC speakers, and he's done his room. His room's small for those speakers, and his music sounds great. He does more like melodic techno type stuff, and yeah, he's got a great room. Guys, put your Instagrams on there so people can see if you're a producer. Be prepared. Constructive battering. When I work with my clients, listen, you're paying me a lot of money. So when we're going to do the one-to-ones, you're paying me a lot of money, right? For a lot of people. So I don't want you coming into my sessions and wasting time. Like, I don't want to teach something you already know. And that's why we go into housekeeping and we go into everything else. And if I've taught you something the week before, you know, and you've done it again, and you know you've done it again, I'll call you an idiot like I did with Matt. Matt actually came up to the studio and stayed with us a few days, so he did full days. He did it quite intense. Yes, Kipper, I've got the Tech Sennheisers HD800s open backs. Yeah, they're also good. Sennheiser, fantastic headphones, really good. Evening, Marcus. How are you doing? Right, let's get some tech going. Any questions before I carry on? I'll show you quickly how I've mixed this track. Okay, I'm not going to necessarily go through the sound, so we'll go through it. So on my drums, I'm doing the buses. Let's go through the buses. So on the kick, I've got the kick, I've got the length, and then I must have turned them off, but I've got nothing else on that because I've just liked it there. On the drums, then I've got the perk. So the perk is just because I've used drum rack. So that's like a sampler. So there's a lot of different drums. Oh, I've not done a perk rack actually. I've just put it straight in with a kick. So what I've done is I've gone into these monoed, the kick, the percussion. I have added a bit of saturation. Oh, that's the kick again. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so the percussion, done a bit of clipping for the things that were getting too loud. So I'm always mixing for loudness. Probably just rolled off the bottom end. Yeah, probably needed a bit of body there. LFO tool, just side chaining. I use the API on the drums with a slow attack, fast release. How much is that doing? Actually, I wasn't doing anything for some reason, so that wasn't doing anything. Oh, that's the whole bus. That's all the whole different things. But on the bus, yes, it's weird. This Ableton shows you all the plugins for all the sounds on all the things on the drum rack. I don't like that. If I look at the perk bus, I just want to see what's on the perk bus. But then I've got the drums. So in this track, I've put the kick and the drums in one for some reason. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry, yeah. So the kick, I've not got anything to it. I've just shortened it. And then on the drums, which is all the percussion as well, I've just EQ'd and sometimes EQing with Spectre, which is parallel saturation. And I've clipped the things that were really loud just to reduce the crest factor on those. And I'm going to do something on mixing for loudness as well. And then, oh, I've got this. This is what makes up the drums. So kick. So drum rack, and the samples are quite a little bit more. I can hear that I've got like a D16 or something on there. They're clipped, just a bit of saturation, and I've got the crystallizer on the clap instead of a reverb. Just got a really fast reverb, really fast delay. So on the bus, just got a bit of a boost around 2K, 1200, 2K. I've got water, which is just for doing nothing. It's just on there. Adds a really nice kind of separation for the group that I like. And then I've got a rouser. A rouser is like the distressor, but you can do a bit more, and it adds quite a bit of saturation. So sometimes it can be a bit too much, but if you really push it, I really like it, and it's nice to do in parallel as well. Let's have a listen to that. No, that's not like me to level match, especially going lower. Anyway, I've not level matched, so yeah, right now I can't say what that's doing. Let's level match it. So yeah, I really like what that's doing. I like what it's doing to the attack of the snare. And I like what it's doing to the kick. And let's just listen to it when it's on and off, what it's doing to the top of the kick and the snare. It's kind of bringing the mid-range forward a little bit, and a little bit more sizzle on the hats. And it's kind of just joining it all together. I really like it. I love this plugin. It's an expensive plugin, and it's a bit like the distressor, but you've got extra things here like even and odd harmonics. You've got a side chain, and you can listen to the side chain, and you've got a mix here, and yeah, it just sounds great on drums. Amazing. So that's that. I've obviously tried the black box and didn't use that. I then got the bass. The bass is Trillion, Dark and Round Voyager. It's just a great preset that. I use it all the time. And then what have I done to that? Right, yeah. It was a bit too bassy at certain points. So what I did was, instead of going into the MIDI and changing the notes, I just thought I'd try multiband, and I compressed certain notes over the threshold. The notes that were popping through, I just kind of got them a little bit more. So that was really good. And just kind of balanced the bottom end out a little bit. EQ. Now, I have EQ'd this. As you can see, there was too much bottom end in the bass, and I had a problem with it. So I just used my ears and I dipped that for some reason. Maybe it was for the kick to come through, I don't know. I just EQ'd it, and I would have just used my ears with this. That's the only reason that's like that. It needed to fit the track, and that's what it took. So yeah. I don't always do a low cut on the bass or the kick, as you know, but this is what sounded better. And then I've got Saturn, just basic preset, doing a bit of saturation for gain staging. Let's have a listen to what that's doing. Down. Okay, well, I would normally put that on for a bit of gain staging, but I've obviously just put it on for a bit of saturation and liked it. And then I've got track spacer being sidechained to the kick. Under 194 hertz. And then Spectre. And I must have thought the top end of the kick wanted to come through a little bit more. And if I remember correctly, what I did was, I did try and move this up a little bit, but I didn't like what it was bringing. It was just this bit of the bass that I really liked. So I didn't put the high pass filter. I didn't put the high cut up, the low pass. I left it. I did try that first of all. I didn't like the sound of it, and I just added a bit of saturation there, and that's what I thought was best for the mix on the bass. And this is generally a lot of the stuff that I will use. Trillion, again, it's just great quality. So sometimes you don't need to use these plugins. You don't need to add any plugins to it because it's such a great plugin. The samples just sound fantastic, and sometimes, you know, I'll always try the Moog, but sometimes I just go, this just works. I don't need to go to the Moog. Hello, I house you, Michael. Michael's just had his first session with me today. Thank you. So yeah, so what I've done is I've got the bass. I've got the best sample I can get at the end of the track, and I added this last. The Pro MB. I just thought it just needed taming down a little bit more, and I must have looked at the Pro Q3, seen the cut I'd already done. I did. I'd already cut it, but what I wanted to do was just take it down after a bit more on certain notes. But really, I should have put that before there. But anyway, it works. I should have put this after that because I've done the cut already. A bit weird why I did that. Okay, and then I've got the music. So I've got the piano. That's not in there. There is no piano. Let's have a look. Okay, so that stab there I've got from a sample of a breakbeat. Yeah. And it's just a stab off it. I've dragged the breakbeat in. I thought, oh, I like that sound. I put it in, I've cut it up, put it in the sampler, put it to splice, got the transient, dragged it in, EQ'd it, bit of an echo, and that's it. It's an old school sample from vinyl. So that's my sound. You know, I don't need to do anything else. You know, fucking sounds great. Right, just leave it. Unless it's saying to me, oh God, it needs a bit more body, oh my God, it needs this, I'm not going to touch it. Okay, and then I've got so that is just a sample that I've got from a sample pack. I really like it. Again, I've chopped it up. What have I done with the MIDI here? Yeah, and just chopped it and played the different notes. And I do that loads. That's the key to my sound, is using samplers. And you've always got to be wary because of the, you know, you get one stab, you're in a key, but then when you change the pitch of that stab, like I've done, some of the notes in that stab might not be in key with your track. And to be honest with you, I'm not perfect pitch, so I'll just send it to, I'm generally right, but I'll send it to my writing partner, Ross Monroe, and say, Ross, how does this sound? And he just knows it straight away. Okay, next, low synth. Again, I chose everything for the frequencies. The end stab, ding, ding, is up there. This, I wanted something a bit lower and a bit more body, okay? It's in a different position. It works. The whole mix works really well. It's a prime example of choosing your samples for the mix. Do you know what I mean? And I found this stab first, and then I did the bass line, you know, and then I've got the other stab, and then I just found the extra bits to go on top of it. Okay, so I would have had this one in. So there's some synths here that I didn't keep in. I actually like that. I maybe should have kept it in. And then I've got this guitar here. Yeah, it just wasn't quite sitting right with the track. But it was good. I did like that originally. A lot of times I'll do this. So if I've got, I'll get a sample, put it low in the mix to create a bit of music and groove. And then what I'll do is I'll do the music around it. So I did start doing this, and I couldn't get it to work. So I got rid of this and thought, oh, it sounds good. And I really like it as a clean, driving kind of dub, like the breakbeat sounds of it. You know, I've got all them drums and samples from breakbeats. There's even a bit of a Bruce Springsteen sample here. Again, I've just chopped it, got certain bits of the drums. It just kind of works in it. It's very subtle. Then I added this later on, just give it more. Again, if you notice, each sounds really good. You know, I really like every sound's like a 10 out of 10. So when I'm teaching people, and like Michael today, I was saying to him, you know, I have my own sample pack, and one of the key things I do is get all amazing lead sounds and stabs on a regular basis from sample packs and splice and everything else, and put them in there, knowing that I'd use them. It might take me half a day or a full day of looking for samples to get 15 amazing sounds that I know I'm going to use that work in my genre. Yeah, and it might take me all day to get 15. Okay, but I'm not doing it when I'm making music, because if I'm making music and looking for samples through sample packs and splice, it kills my creative flow. And flow is one of the most important things for not losing creativity. So yeah, getting the right samples, you know, that go with it. And something that I said to Michael today, what I did was we got his DJ set together, his references, and we said, right, find kicks and claps and hats and sounds that all work perfectly in your genre and for the stuff that you're using. So yeah, that's that track. So I've just done that track. There's not a lot being done to it, and they've got the vocal. I've just chopped it up and add hits. It's not in the track's not in the same key as original. Okay. Effects, I've not gone to town on it, because what I've done is I've gone to town on this track on automation and little fills and stuff like this. And I've changed up drums and I've automated stuff, and it's quite a simple track. I think I didn't do it justice because it was the B-side, but I like it. You know, I made this and I looked at it and I thought, oh, I've not really gone to town on this one. Yeah, and I didn't need to. It just works. It's got a journey. I feel like I want to dance all the time. There's stuff happening, and it's got a great groove. So I'm not just, and it adds different elements all the time. You can see here, you know, just with the vocals, with the position that everything comes in, that it's not just paste and add and add and add. You know, got this sound, take it away, add this, then take this away and add this, then take this away and add these two, add this one. You know, so it's moving all the time. There's nothing, you know, you don't want to see stuff just straight across all the time, unless that's your kind of genre. But it just works, and it feels like it's got an energy that it's not meant for radio, but it's meant to be for, if you're in a club on a dance floor, you're like, fuck, you know, yeah, this is really good. Hopefully. Obviously, the good news for the guys who've been tuning in, I know you weren't all here last night, I signed this to Groove Culture. So that they're in my top 5 labels. I play a lot of their stuff earlier on, and I sent it to Michaela. We've been speaking for ages. I've tried to sign a record to them, and they've signed it. So, and they love it. So, yeah, that's good. So I've just done that, and that's all I've done to it. And then on the master, what I've done on the pre-master, which is like before it goes to the master, bit of EQ, nothing. SSL bus compressor. Oh. Doing nothing. I've not used the SSL bus compressor for ages. I started using the SSL bus compressor and the Waves 900J, SSL 900J, just because I wanted to stop looking at the analyzer, and I just wanted to start using my ears and feeling and doing it a bit more way, especially with the SSL, because you've got everything there, and I was just trying to do everything in one part by using my ears. So I was using this. So I was just trying to do everything I could on the sound in this. So we got you know, the filters, high pass, low pass, the EQs, and the EQs we've got, you know, the highs and mids, low frequency, and the compressor were really good just to have just there, and it is really good. And I had the controller for the SSL stuff, and I liked it, but because I don't know why I'm not using it now. I do like it. I like using Spectre. I like EQing with Spectre now, and yeah, I just find it works a little bit more. And to be honest with you, I don't use a lot of EQ. I might use low cut, high cut. I use Spectre now more for boosting. And if I want a bit of brightness, I might use something like the Spectre or the Marg EQ, or you know, the bias on the tape or something like that. But it's a great plugin if you're learning and just using your ears and just going, right, I'm going to do everything on here. And what it does, it makes you use the compressors, and it makes you use the gate and learn it all just by using your ears. And you don't need to look at the computer with it. You know, just get one and use it, and you do the ARP method for the compression, and look at the EQ and listen to it. And what it does as well is frequency recognition. So you can get to learn certain oh, that's 4K, oh, that's 4.5. Do you know what I mean? Instead of seeing it on an analyzer. I do like it. I would like a desk one day. Yes, the SSL UC one. But yes, I like that. And right now in my space, I've got the Push 2, which I really like, and I've got the S2400. So I don't need. I don't know. I liked it. There was a few things that I didn't like. I can't quite remember, but I sent back the SSL stuff. But yeah, the control, it was nice. It's nice not just looking at the screen all the time. So that's this track. Okay, and then what else do you tape? So there's some tape on there. I generally will have some tape on stuff. Let's have a listen to this. I love what that does. So before Matt leaves a smart ass comment, and anyone else leaves a comment, I know I've not gain stage, because look, this plugin here, it always just sounds louder. So what I normally do is group it, put a gain on there, turn it down 1.2 dB, and then when I level match, it's generally right. But I like how it's glued it together. I've really pushed it, and I like what it does to just like the mid-range and the stereo field. I just really like it. Sometimes I might want a bit more bass in the kick, so I'll go to 30. But because what that's doing there, that's affecting the kick and the bass. Sometimes, very rarely works. It's doing a bump at 60 hertz, and what it's doing is it's adding more bass, which I really like, but it's taking away from the transients of the kick and the bass working together. And there's just a few buttons. I normally have it in normal. That's that. But in this, you've got to turn the noise reduction off, and then turn the wow and flutter down. And if you do use a 30 IPS speed and you want to reduce the bass, you can reduce the bass here a little bit with it. Sounds good. I like Slate. I use UAD a lot. Sometimes the Slate is just good. You know, it's just a great plugin. And I would have tested a few things. Okay, for the journey now, I've also got this. Mutator. All right, so yeah, I've just used Mutator and filtered it in. Okay, so anyone who knows me knows that I've used the UAD Moog filter loads, right? And I'm into my French house, and I've got this filter, which is the Effectrix. I think I've shown you before. So it's like used by like Alan Braxton, Daft Punk and all them guys. Needs a bit of a clean. And I always wanted one of these mutators because I know that Daft Punk used this as well, and it was a big in the track, and it's just got that sound. You know, listen to the filter on that when it goes down. Oh, it just reminds me of the old, like kind of a Zulu French house kind of tracks, and it's warm and it's beautiful. There's just something about it that is just falling in love with it. The only problem with it is this: I can link it down here, but the cutoffs work separately, so I can't. I've had to create a rack, yeah, and then map the left and the right to one of these, and the left and the right for the resonant, left and right for the unsaw, so that when I move this, it moves both cutoffs together, which is, mate, tell me if I'm getting this wrong, but it's fucking weird. Oh, mate, don't tell me that. I paid 170 for this because it is amazing. So I've used that, and I will often filter on multi-levels. And that's it. That's the track. So the track is 5 minutes 20 long. It's not a long track. It's just a bit of a groover and a filler. And oh my God, this is really good. And I don't want it to drag on too long. So I've really cut it down to 5 minutes. I started by doing the same thing, just getting a sampler up, finding sounds. And it was actually this one that was lead, because you see it's bright pink. So oh. There you go. Let's just take that back. That would have been the lead. I wanted to make a more of a tech house groover, so it was about the bass line. So I probably started with the bass at this. I don't remember, to be honest, it was that long ago. I wanted to, I wanted to get them drums like that kind of sound. I heard Kelly Allen, who mixed my track on Sophia, she did a mix with Prunk in the Beef, and there was a track, it was a remix of something, and I just thought, I fucking love them drums. So I couldn't get the track, so I just remade something similar. And then just added the synths in. And what I did was I used all the different synths to make a melody at different times. And then on my master, just to let you know, because I can't stay late tonight, it's the stepdaughter's birthday party. I've got a Spectre. I didn't use these, by the way. I've got the virtual tape again for some reason. And then when I did my DJ mix, I just did a Pro L. I probably would have used a clipper, but if I don't think it needs a clipper, I don't need one. An Ozone. Ozone I really like, just for quick DJ mixes and masters. Low end focus, under 30. Imager, doing a bit of just what it does. I don't really need Imager me normally because I do it on the individual items. I'm going to do something on stereo spread as well this week. Exciter. I'll try it. C. Clarity I really like. There's a Gullfoss I'm thinking about buying actually. It's a bit similar. And then Maximizer is really good. And the good thing about this is you can hear any distortion, what you're adding to it. And I love the Maximizer on this for that. So that is the dub of my track coming out on Groove Culture, one of my favourite labels, Tick. Okay. Any questions before we go? PreSonus, yeah, that stuff's supposed to be getting really good nowadays. But if you hate them, I'm definitely not going to buy them. I've seen some people saying that the sound cards, the converters are really good. Thank you, KRXNYC. iLouds, I've never heard of them. I'll have to look them up. Yeah, Mutator's amazing, but you've got to get it. And if somebody finds out that I'm wrong, tell me. But I was messing around with it for ages, trying to figure out. I just couldn't believe that that's what it was like. Then I spoke to my mate who had one, and he went, yeah, that's what they used to be like back in the day. I know, but make it easy for us now. It's really, you can get really creative with it, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, this is all about sample choices, positioning the sound for in the mix, and creating a journey that isn't just adding and adding and adding. Remember, you take something away sometimes and add something else in, or sometimes taking something away, you know, and then taking something away makes something a bit bigger because the bass takes over. Cool. It's like anything. I mean, as long as you've got a good pair of headphones that aren't too coloured, right? And as long as you've got a good room that's generally not got loads of reverberation or, you know, waves coming back at your ears, distorting what you're hearing from the direct sound, you can learn your headphones, you can learn your room, and you can learn everything else. You know, lots of these tech house kids, they're making records, you know, on shit speakers in the tiny General X on a laptop with a pair of headphones, and they're sounding good. You know, they might be lucky with the room, but yeah, that's what it was. You know, Salado, their first record, Tribesman, their room there was terrible. You know, the bass traps were ridiculous, but they didn't see it. They didn't know there was a problem with it. You know, and I've always thought their tracks were a bit bass heavy, and now they've, in Mark's house, I think the mixes are sounding better, and I think it's no different producers. I just think it's the room. Okay, guys, I'm going to sign off. Hope you enjoyed it. Okay, just a quick question. So, have you heard of Graham Farmer? Check him out on social media. He is really good with music production and runs data transmission, and he's going to come on and do some Q&A for us. But he teaches you how to build your socials and everything else. It's this guy here. So he's going to come on and do some Q&As and talk about what he does, and talk about the industry, and talk about, you know, answer your questions. So I need more questions from you all. So what questions do you want to know about social media and all that kind of stuff? That's what he's here for. Let me know a day. When's the best day for you guys? Also, please, can you like and share these afterwards? And can you leave some comments that I can reply to? It's what the algorithm wants. These videos aren't, if you're watching this now, they're not made to be beating the algorithm. They're here to help the people who are taking the time to come and join me. So, yeah. So please like, share the actual video, leave some comments in the comments section as well if you don't mind, or ask me some questions or whatever, and then I can reply, and then hopefully start getting YouTube forwarding this to people who think might like it. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'm going to speak to him tomorrow anyway, or tonight, and then we're going to put a date in for him to come in. I appreciate you all. Listen again, like I critique your music, please critique me. I've just started doing this. We're 7 days in. We've done the first week. I'm knackered. I've been up since 5 today, and now I've got to go to a teenager's birthday party. But have a lovely weekend. If you're going out clubbing, I'm very jealous. If you spend it with family, have a lovely time. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone.